All right, so Coach, here's the Philadelphia Eagles, and obviously they've been a very explosive offense over the first 2 weeks of the season, and fans point to plays like this, but I see this play and I say, man, this is kind of a busted coverage. And obviously Philly does some good things here to kind of get them to bust the coverage. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Right. Well, the biggest thing, more than anything else, is, if you're the Vikings and you've scattered them up, you're anticipating certain plays out of this. And based on this formation, it looks like they're anticipating some sort of combination based on the way the safety reacts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because to me, it looks like the safety is thinking he and the corner are going to exchange. I think he's anticipating the corner to carry the vertical. And really what you would almost think that Jalen's going to do is he was going to throw to the tight end.
Right, on the corner route.
Correct. But if you look at Jalen, there's no indicator right now that he's throwing the ball any place but deep.
Right.
Because as he's looking, okay, and he's looking right down the middle. He's not looking out to the left down here, okay? To me, I think the safety is almost guessing and anticipating, okay? But because of where Jalen's postures tell me he's throwing the vertical because he sees the safety going flat. I mean, to me, this is a really good read by Jalen.
It's an excellent read by Jalen. And then do you think this, on the defensive side, is more of a communication issue or just getting a rep out of like a different look?
I think it's the communication first and foremost, because I really do think at this point, based on what I saw, I think the safety thought he had the tight end in an exchange, and the corner was going to continue to go vertical.
Right.
And I think that's, again, I'm guessing because I'm not sure what their call was, what their communication was, but I will say if there's one thing you got to do is you got to give Jalen Hurts credit for reading this.
Right, and I think that also shows, something you've been talking about a lot this offseason is just how important getting on the same page is there and how coverages and matching concepts are so important. The other thing I want to talk about is look at this pocket, Coach. Like, he's not disrupted or uncomfortable anyway. He doesn't even really have to move his eyes from where he wants to throw. Like, how important is getting a rush on this group, especially given the talent of this offensive line?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing more than anything else is there's a couple things that sit there and tell you that, as a defense, your almost your attitude looks at it. It's 2nd and 8, but they're in midfield.
Right, so shot play time. Right.
Exactly. You and your offensive background know that. Anytime I get between the 40s and I'm in a situation like that in midfield, it is shot time.
Right.
So, again, as a defensive lineman, I'm thinking, hey, let's get vertical. Let's get after the quarterback.
Right.
Mostly because 2nd and 8 does tell you it's pass. But from a secondary standpoint, especially the safeties, I'm always thinking there's an opportunity for a shot.
Yeah, and it's so important to get that pre kind of snap indicator stuff for you, right? Because it lets you cheat the play a little bit. Cheat is maybe the wrong word, but guess kind of correctly estimate. So, yeah, that's always interesting seeing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens on this play as far as I'm concerned, because I think as you look at it, our mentality should be 2nd and 8, let's go get them.
Yeah, right, absolutely. Especially in that formation with the gun and stuff.
Correct.
This is the other play. So this is, again, everything seems of this Philadelphia offense seems to go through Jalen Hurts. This is a zone read here. And, again, the thing that I like about it from an offensive standpoint is that he's got a read on the defensive end, and then he's got a pass concept to hold the coverage on the back end, right? So he can throw it, he can run it, he can hand it off, and it just seems like it's going to be impossible to be correct here.
Well, no. I disagree with that just because, again, you sit here and you say, okay, the way you're correct on this is, as far as their defense is concerned, their left defensive end has been told, okay, you've got the run.
Right.
Okay, so if he's playing the run, that means that the left inside linebacker has to overlap.
Gap exchange, right?
Yes. Now he's the one now responsible for the quarterback.
Right.
Okay, because, again, what happens is if Jalen doesn't hand the ball off, the two elements they still have. They still have the run and they still have the pass.
Right.
So having said that, there's nobody for the quarterback.
Yeah, because 58 isn't doing his job, isn't doing what he's supposed to do.
Correct. Because, again, what happens is when he plays this, when he does this, all he's really doing is keeping the run-pass option.
Right.
Okay? So on this specific play, if you eliminate the dive, okay, now the next thing you have to do is you have to play the quarterback. So what you would have liked to see on this play, especially if, all right, the defensive end. Now, again, the defensive end may be the one responsible for the quarterback.
Right. We don't know because we're not Minnesota Vikings.
But what's happening is if you watch Jalen, he turns, he looks at the end. He sees that the end has got the dive.
Yeah.
So that means I'm going to pull the ball.
And that's also tough for the that's tough for the defensive end because he's getting that cross-stiff action there too. So does he spill it? What's he got to do there? Again, it's a good, well-designed play here.
Well, the thing that helps on this, though, is again, if that's what they're doing, then the linebacker has to go fast A, fall back all the way outside to C.
Fast A gap, so between the center and the guard, or back to the C gap.
Right, but all he does, he goes fast. That gets everybody going, and then he falls behind it.
Right.
But all he does is he's playing downhill, and that's what gets him caught right there.
Yeah.
And if you watch the tackle, watch how he pins the outside shoulder.
Yeah. And then secures the running lane for the quarterback.
Correct.
And then they're in some type of man coverage, and
Yep.
for backs to the quarterback.
Yep.
He's a handful to deal with for sure.
Oh yeah, he's again. It's about being disciplined, understanding what my reads are.
Yeah.
What's going on. Okay, now this right here is really just what they do well defensively. Okay, they bring pressure and force you to make a quick decision.
Right.
All right. And the thing about this more than anything else is there should only be one guy coming free.
Right. Right.
So that tells you that either right here they were supposed to either all turn left, or from the center on they were turning right and saying the guy up the middle is the guy that you got to beat, Kirk.
Yeah, because I think a lot of fans see this and say, "Oh, how do you protect this? There's so many guys coming." But a lot of teams that I've played for, you take the most dangerous inside rusher, and if you think about 57 not being there,
correct,
Kirk has time to kind of drift away
from where the pressure comes. That's why a lot of teams turn one way or the other, and the quarterback is now responsible for the guy coming off the edge. And if you look at Kurt, he wants to drift to his left because that's where he's going to throw the ball.
Right.
And because he's not able to really drift this way and throw, he throws it short now. Because if he throws a good ball, there's the chance for it to be a touchdown.
And especially with a receiver like that, and you guys got some good receivers here.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing that sticks out to me is like fans see these plays and they say, "Oh, how do you stop Philadelphia?" But if all three of those plays were mental mistakes,
right there comes down, and again, that's what got us last week. Was we made too many we allowed too many explosive plays because we made too many mental mistakes. Again, it's one of these things that as you go through the season, you're gonna lessen those eventually.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But you want to try and be right as quickly as possible. And this is a great example as you watch it. Again, watch what happens with their right guard and right tackle.
Yeah, right tackle's doing the right thing.
You
think so? I think they should squeeze this.
But watch the center.
I see what you're saying.
See what the center does?
Yeah.
See, so did they just miss it as an offense?
Right.
And if they did miss it as an offense, then technically shouldn't 75 be kicking out?
Right. Absolutely. Or like I said before, you take the most dangerous inside rusher. So are they supposed to all squeeze back the other way?
I'm agreeing with you because I think they should have. I think they should have turned left. I really do. That was the first thing I thought. Was this should be a left turn because I thought 75 is correct. But when the center turned where he did, I go, oh wait a minute.
Yeah. Looks like the center's expecting to get bumped off here by 67, and then it's too late. But yeah, again, that's why it's tough. You got to be on the same page. The communication has to be there. We're going to talk about Jahan Dotson, and I feel like he's a guy who's pretty easy to talk about so far in the season. Done some excellent things. This was the first catch of the second half that sparked the comeback offensively. He's up here at the top, looking good in that uniform with that towel, making me think of Deshaun Jackson. Runs a little clear, little corner here, and I think that you pointed this out. They're running quarters to the field, which basically means that this guy's got a quarter of the field, this guy's got a quarter of the field, but there's rules about quarters that crush this concept crushes.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Well, as you look at it, the biggest thing once the ball snap is really it's going to be all based off of Jahan's release.
Yep.
Okay? And as he releases and goes vertical, now they know that the corner's locked in on him.
Right.
When the safety's looking to drive down on the tight end. He's responsible for reading off of whatever happens with number 2.
Right.
When he sees number 2 break out probably 10 yards, he's going to drive down on it. What that means is now Jahan's one-on-one. Because they're in quarters, and the safety breaks, Jahan has leverage because he's on the inside portion of the corner.
Right.
So he's now going to run away from it. Carson knows that, and he's going to put the ball inside where Jahan can go up and make the play.
Yeah, it seems like such a great concept to call there. Great job by Scott Turner to get that call because this corner has got outside leverage on Jahan. There's no help inside if that guy breaks. So love the concept, but again, Coach, like the concept is half the battle, right? The guy's got to execute it. And I will say this is one of the better catches you see on the day. And his touchdown's probably better catching this, but the body control here is something that we talked about when you drafted him. How nice is that to see show up here for you?
Well, because that's the thing that he was really noted for was his catch radius, his ability to go up vertically and get the ball, go out and lay out horizontally and catch the ball. He's got great hands, great hand-eye coordination, so he's going to make those kind of plays.
And it's great, I also think, because he's a young guy, and sometimes those guys struggle early, right? But it's nice to see that. Another thing that I like about this coach is, you went out, got Carson Wentz, and tough first half, but here gets a little bit of pressure, kind of rolls out, and what I love is his eyes stay down the field the whole time.
Yes.
He's unaffected by the rush, and he's just looking to make a play here, and that seems like a fantastic trait in your starting quarterback.
It is. It is a great trait to have. Why? Because, again, a guy that can feel pressure and move from pressure and have his eyes downfield is always going to find the opportunity to make a play.
And especially with all those playmakers you got, right?
Yes.
It's just a guy, he's like a point guard now, right?
Yes.
Now you can touch anywhere on the field. Like, I don't know how far this is, but this looks like it's a pretty far throw, and not many people in the NFL can get that done.
Yeah, it's 45 yards in the air, so that's pretty awesome.
Not many guys can get that done. This is another great play, and I think this to me shows a different side of his game. Jahan's right here, and he's in the slot. They're playing kind of this zero coverage. There's nobody in the middle of the field. Great awareness by Carson to identify. Great game plan play here. They get the RPO action kind of off some kind of tight zone here. They're in their goal line personnel. Everyone's got a gap, not a lot of room in here. But I love this awareness by Jahan, the twitchiness by Jahan. It's like a little double stick here. Come inside, beat this guy against bad leverage, quite frankly.
Yes.
And not many guys can get that done.
Well, what's interesting about it, too, is, the DB has posted himself inside.
Yep.
Okay, taking away Jahan's leverage.
Right.
But because of his quickness, he's able to shake him, get inside. Now, kudos goes to Carson on this play, because if you look at what happens, he sees the zero blitz.
Oh.
So he's going to go with the play fake.
Right.
He sees the blitzer, and what's he doing? We just talked about earlier. He drifts away from it to buy a little extra time. That's why the ball's just a touch off.
Right.
Okay, and it's a heck of a body adjustment in midair by Jahan to make the catch.
I mean, a heck of a body adjustment's probably not doing that thing justice. Like, for him to control, it's tough to see catches like that, one in a game, but to have two in the same game is pretty spectacular. And you mentioned he's rolling away. There's a free runner here. The composure, like Carson, unaffected by the rush. You can see his vision on here to Jahan. Love that. And like you said, Jahan wins inside versus bad leverage. And Coach, I don't know about that. Maybe you in your prime could get that done, but
nah. But the truth of the matter is, again, it's one of the things that we are fortunate enough to see as we are scouting him. When you watch his tape, when you watch the things that he does and see the things he's capable of, you just know that this is what we were hoping to get, and we've been very fortunate to have it so far.
And like you said before, it's great to see his maturity and just how he's grown each and every game, and hopefully he continues to be a playmaker because he's got a special skill set. Coach, always fun talking ball with you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.